lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maddie, where I love to talk all things makeup, especially makeup tutorials. In this video, I am going to be covering a full glam makeup look. I was scrolling through Pinterest the other day and was really inspired by all of the Indian bridal makeup. I mean, they are just extra. They are bold, and I thought that, we could try it out and do a full glam makeup look together. So let's get into it. Okay, so now we are going to focus on the eyes first, because by focusing on the eyes, if I blend outside of the lines, a little bit lower or a little bit, further out here with doing this full glam look, it's really going to be super easy to clean up. Versus right now, if I were to put a full face of makeup on, do my foundation, my concealer, and then my blush, my bronzer, everything, and then I come in and try and do this full eye look, it's gonna be really tricky to try and keep that within the lines and not over blending anywhere that I shouldn't, and any trying to clean up, like, good luck. It's not. It's gonna be way too tricky. So this is really always the easiest path to go that I always do when I do a full glam look. Or when I'm doing anything special with my eyes, I always do my eyes first, and then I will do my full face. That way I can clean up anything really easy, with a little bit of micellar water or makeup wipe, or just a little rag or something. So I'm going to be using two different palettes here. I'm going to be using ColourPop because ColourPop, number one, it is super budget friendly, and two, their eyeshadows are really awesome quality for the money that you were spending on them. And really, they haven't raised their prices a lot like a lot of other brands have. I love ColourPop. They were the first eyeshadows I got into because their colors are just rich and their mattes are soft. Their shimmers, they really shimmer. Their glitters, so long as you use some glitter glue or something to really make them stick, because you can't get some fallout from them. But I mean, they're just a high quality, they're just awesome. So I'm going to be using my ColourPop Grandeur palette, and I'm going to be using four colors from this palette. So I'm going to be using Velvet and Jolie and Mode, and then this one called House. And then I'm going to dip in just a little bit into my ColourPop Star Wars palette, and I'm going to use Star Destroyer, this black right here. So that is going to make up our entire look here. And first I'm going to come in with the Velvet shade. I've already put concealer in my eyes, and I've set it with some powder. By setting it with powder, what I really do is that I make my blending so much easier on myself. Because if I just put concealer on and I don't set it with powder, the eyeshadow's gonna stick, it's gonna be really splotchy, and it's just not gonna have that cohesive blend to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my crease here. And remember, as having hooded eyes, I'm going to put it above my crease, really. So whenever I say my crease, really, I mean above my crease. And I'm going to bring it out a little bit too, because I want to try and bring a little bit more elongation to my eyes. If that's even a word, elongation. So there, I've brought enough of that transition and just really blending it, up to my eyebrow and out. And I'm going to keep it kind of a cut crease look here, so that that gold, when I put it on my lid, can really stand out. And so now I'm just putting this in my corner. And whenever I do a full glam look, I always start with my lightest colors and then I go dark. Because what will happen is if I try to go dark, which I've done this too, and you can totally do it if you have the skills to do it, is that the dark can be a little bit harder to blend out immediately. But if you start with your light, go from lightest to darkest, then the dark has to blend on top of, powder, the eyeshadow that's already there. And so it won't look as harsh, and it'll be able to blend a lot easier. One thing to keep in mind with doing a full glam look you are gonna wanna give yourself ample time to really take your time. Because what it comes down to for a full glam look is blending and really being very precise with every step that you are taking. And just enjoy the journey, you know? So again, I'm putting that above my crease in the corner and kind of bringing that out. So by putting it above my crease, I have really just opened my eyes a lot more, given my lid more space. And so it looks like my eyes are a lot bigger than they actually are. And then my mobile lid is bigger than it is, even though I have a very small mobile lid from my hooded eyes. Now I'm gonna come in, I just used a big fluffy blending brush, and now I'm gonna use a small blending brush, and I'm going to dip into a little bit of mauve here, because these other colors that I'm using, they are a little more cool toned, which is great, but I want to make sure that I've got a little bit of warmth. Because when you mix warm and cool tones together, it makes for a very interesting look. Interesting isn't good interesting. Let's be clear here. Okay, so just a little bit is all I wanted. I think I need to put that a little bit more closer to my lash line. And again, I'm working from lightest to dark. So this was the next shade up. And this is the part that really is going to take you the longest, and it's the blending. I didn't put anything else on this fluffy brush. This is what I used for my transition shade. I am just blending, blending, blending. Blending all of those edges, blending the colors together to make sure that it really all blends together and it is a cohesive look. And this is why I love ColourPop eyeshadows, because they are just so velvety and they blend like a dream. You know, you would think that you are getting a high-end eyeshadow, but really you are getting a budget-friendly but high-end experience. So I'm gonna keep using that same fluffy blending brush. I just keep cleaning it on my little microfiber cloth here, acts as my eyeshadow switch, because also having some of the excess color in here, I mean, I'm wiping off as much as I possibly can, but by using it with multiple shades, I'm also able to try and blend it a lot easier. So now I'm going to come in with that color Jolie. This is a dark, dark, cool brown. And I'm going to actually bring my mirror up so I can see straight ahead, right where I am placing that. And first I'm kind of, you notice I'm tapping it in, because I want to place it first. And then I'm going to use circular motions to blend that into the other colors. So you see how I didn't make just a big splotch because I started with the dark color first? Because I went lightest to darkest, then it's able to blend super well. And I just keep using that same big fluffy blending brush and bringing that in to really soften this up and combine all of those colors really well. And that's okay. Sometimes it takes a few dips into each color to get the payoff that you want. It's always better to dip in more often than not. And when it comes to doing a full glam look, I mean, you should be giving yourself, I mentioned this earlier, ample time, but we're talking 30 to 40 minutes or more. Because it alone, doing this eye look is going to take you about 30 minutes. And then you figure if you do your face, That's also going to take you another, 20 minutes if you're really taking your time blending. So now I'm just going to dip into that black, and I just want to deepen this up just a little bit more here. I'm so glad that I went in with that mauve shade, that warmer brown, because that really brought everything together here. So as you can see, my hood, it was kind of creating this crease a little bit. So now I'm going to blend this out here. Oh yeah, there we go. And I'm working in very, very thin layers here. Thin layers along the whole thing. Just blend, blend, blend. Now I'm just making sure that they're even. Okay, so you see if you look at my eyes, how much the eyeshadow has, gotten outside of the edges of my eyes, but also they're kind of, it's come down a little bit. And so really it's dragged my eyes down and made them look droopy, which that is one look you can do, that very doe-eyed, dull, droopy eye look, and it is very pretty, but that's not the look that I'm trying to go for in this one. And so that's why I did my eyes first, so that I can come in and clean up this line and just whoop, because it's come down so much more. And especially with my hooded eyes, that drags my eyes down even more. And so if I let that eyeshadow sit low here where I think it should be, because that's where my hood is, then it just drags my eyes down so much more. So now I'm going to come in with the color House, and I'm going to put that on the empty space of my lid here. Making sure I'm getting close to that lash line, and I'm tapping over where the dark and that gold meet. This is such a punchy yellow gold, but like it's got, it's like a white yellow gold. So pretty. Now I like to use my finger because I get the best payoff. Maybe not the most control, but I get a lot of payoff by using my finger. Now I'm coming in with a flat shader brush, and I'm going to bring that in the spaces where I was missing it, and then just tapping over those dark colors. Right here in that inner corner, and bring it up. And the other reason to do eyes first, especially when you're doing an eyeshadow like this one, it is, if you look at it, it's a little bit like chunky, shimmery. And the thing is that you get fallout too. And so that's another reason for doing your eyes first, is that any eyeshadow that falls, I mean, I have done it before where I did this beautiful, was it like a berry kind of teal look, and it was so, so pretty, but I had done my face first and then I had done my eyes, and the berry fell right here on the high points of my cheeks, and I tried to brush it and I just made this big smudge. It was for an event too, and I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. So learn from my mistakes, please. Do not do what I did. Do your eyes first if you're going full glam, or if you're doing anything special with your eyes, and then go ahead and do your full base. So now that the eyes are all done, the eyeshadow is all on, I mean, this is looking gorgeous. This is what I envisioned, when you're looking at those Pinterest pictures, and Pinterest is just so perfect. But with all those Indian bridals, they're very gold and neutral colored, and they're just stunning, absolutely stunning. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face, and then we'll come back and finish up the look. Okay, I'm gonna walk you through what I do for a full glam look. So we're gonna work in thin layers, but using products to our advantage that give us full coverage for that super glam look. And the first thing that I just did here was I covered up my blue and purple circles in just the inner corner of my eye. That's where I've got them the most, with a color corrector. Okay, so I'm using a color corrector so that I don't have to cake on my concealer to get those covered up. All right, so while that is setting for a full glam look, I would recommend, you know, we're doing a very bold eye look, and so coming in with a full coverage foundation, and the Nars Soft Matte Complete Foundation is what I like to use for this. It is very matte, so if you have dry skin, make sure you are prepped very, very well. It's super liquidy, so it does spread very far, which is nice, but because it is a matte foundation, you want to work in sections to really get that blend so it doesn't dry down on you and then all of a sudden you've got brush strokes and it's not blended very well. You see how far that went? I didn't even put very much on my brush and it just blended, you know, over half of my face here. So now I'm coming in with my sponge and just really pressing that into my skin and making sure there are no brush strokes. It's all blended seamlessly here. Now I'm going to come in and do the other side. And I focus on my cheeks first because that's where I have the most redness. And so that's where I want the most foundation to be. And then as I have less on my brush, I can come out to the edges of my face and blend it into my hairline and down my jaw. I really like to use a brush first when I'm doing a full glam look, when applying my foundation, so that I can really get that product dispersed, and then using my sponge to blend it in even more. Because also a brush is going to put on more product, then it's going to keep it more full coverage rather than using a sponge, because a sponge soaks it up and it kind of gives you more of like a medium coverage. And for full glam, I want a full coverage look. So I've got my base on, I'm looking a little ghostly here. Before I go much farther, before I put on my concealer, I'm going to wipe this excess eyeshadow up. Don't mind my eyes, they get red. My skin just gets red when I rub it because I have sensitive skin, but nothing to be concerned about. Okay, now, because I already put that color corrector in the corner of my eye, I don't need much concealer at this point. I just need enough to cover up where I need some extra where my foundation did not cover. Then just blend that in. I use a very, very little amount of concealer because also if I cake on my concealer, it is going to crease on me when I go and bake. Okay, blending out all my lines here, because now we're gonna come in and bake. You're gonna need a loose setting powder, okay? That is just a must-have for baking. And the reason that you bake is that it's going to really set that makeup super, super well and last, you know, really all night. So putting significant amount right here under my eyes and in my T-zone where I get the most oily. I'm gonna come up the nose a little bit more. And then for a really chiseled look, I'm gonna start right here and just bring that towards our mouth. I don't bake often, but it is fun to do. And you're just gonna let that powder sit there and really marinate. A little on my chin. So you look like kind of like a ghost. You're all white and there's a lot of powder on there, but we're just gonna let it sit. That is the best thing to do. You gotta let it sit and bake, just like you bake a regular, you know, goodie. Now, from the inspiration photos that I saw, they don't really use blush. So they are mostly relying on their bronzer. And so what I'm gonna do is I am going to use my M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow blush in Rococo. This is a darker blush, pretty dark for my fair skin, but it's also got some color in it that kind of helps me cheat the system a little without using blush. It's got a like pinky hue to it, and that's just going to really chisel out my cheeks here. Because that's what they have, is like super, super chiseled. And then I'm just gonna put, they have just like a light bit, so I'm gonna kind of, if I wanted more color, then I would come in and stamp like I did on my cheeks, but I want just a light wash. And what I also really like about this blush is that, you know, I can use it as a bronzer first of all, but it has some sparkle reflex in it, and so it really brings that highlighting effect as well. Really blending that into my hairline. Okay, we've let that powder set for a good while, so now what I'm just going to do is just lightly brush it away. I will let my brows there. So it also gives a highlighting effect, and it has set that concealer, chiseled me out, given me all kinds of definition. And for my event, it is going to last me all night. So I'm gonna bring just a little bit of that Rococo on the apples of my cheeks, my cheekbones. Because I mostly used it to like chisel it out. I just want to bring it up just a little bit. And you're not a glam look without contouring your nose. And being very precise and bringing it up into your brow, so that, because your nose is part of your brow, right? But I also like, because this has like some cooler tones in this blush, I can use it for contouring like I'm doing right now. You're looking very chiseled. And I'm gonna bring this on the end of my nose here. And then just across. I don't like too much of a button nose, because I do actually have a natural button nose. So I don't need too much of an effect right there. And then also we cannot go without chiseling that beautiful jawline. for an even better look. So in pictures, I mean, look, you can already see that that part of my jaw and my neck, it looks back. And so the rest of my face that's light right here, it's pulling forward. And so in photos, I already look like I am very, very thin and I don't have any under chin, you know, fat, but I totally do. So that's why we're going to do that and then bring it down. Bring it all the way down your neck here. So you're leaving just this front open space. And a little extra trick, sometimes I like to come up just to give some definition there on my chin. And then we're gonna come in with some highlighter. This is an OG Benefit Cookie highlighter. I was so excited when I finally purchased this. I mean, this thing is old, but I was so excited. And they have their highlighters pretty low, like basically blush placement. Just a little bit on the nose, the bridge of the nose. You want to be very selective so that anywhere that the camera lights hit you, or the sun hits you, or those dim lights, the gala, they're making you shine from all of the best parts of your face. Okay, now that I have my face all done, I'm gonna come up and brush my eyebrows, brush out any product that might have gotten in them, as well as shaping them. And now we're gonna finish the eyes. So I'm gonna come in with that same small shader brush that we've been using. I'm gonna dip into that dark brown that we've been using this whole time, just in the outer corner. And then bringing it in. We're not done yet. This is why I said you have to plan like 30 to 45 minutes for doing a full glam look, because your eye look alone is going to take you some time. So now we're going to tightline and put eyeliner in our waterline. And bring that all the way down in that corner there. And on the waterline here. When you tightline or put eyeliner in your waterline, you're taking that extra step to look extra, to be extra. And people know you mean business. Close that off there. There we go. Not done yet. I'm gonna come into my Star Wars palette with the black, just the tip. And I'm going to smoke that out on the bottom. We are all smoked out. Okay, now this is the part that I can't talk for. We're gonna put on some liquid eyeliner. All right, we've got the eyeliner all done. Now for some mascara. All right, now I'm gonna take my highlighter, put that in the corner. I'm also gonna kind of bring it up into that gold there. And it just brightens my eyes so much more. Last thing we have are lips. I always love how they do such a bold lip. All right, so I'm gonna kind of mix two different colors here. I'm gonna use this kind of like brick red. It's my base. Then I'm gonna put this berry color on top. Okay, and a little trick is take a little shader brush and come around your lines and clean them up, wipe them off. And there you have it, this full glam look. I am ready for a gala with this look. You know, this is going to last me all night. I'm not baking, I'm chiseled, feeling very bold. And as you notice, with all the products I used, you know, a mix mash of, you know, affordable products, maybe a little bit higher end, but, you know, it all came together in the end. And, you know, that's the beautiful thing about makeup, is that you can achieve this look with no matter what products you have. You know, even I used this NYX Professional Makeup Suede matte lipstick, and that's how I got this beautiful, you know, lipstick color. And this NYX Suede matte lip liner in Vintage. I mean, it doesn't take expensive products to look glam, to be glam. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and especially subscribe so I can create more awesome content like this for you guys. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!